everybody. Happy Friday. Oh, my teddy bear's there. Let me get rid of my teddy bear. Happy Friday. Welcome to Cruise Shop Save Live. This is a channel for all you cruise lovers, for people who love to cruise and are missing it greatly. I interview guests each week who are connected to the cruise ship industry, who can either take us down memory lane and recount some stories of the old cruise days, or I interview cruise experts. And this week we have a special surprise. She's a dear, dear friend of mine and yours. She is a cruise veteran. She's been a shore excursion manager, an art auctioneer, and a port shopping guide. And here she is, the wonderful Lucy.
Hi everyone. Hello my friends.
I'm so excited.
Hi darling.
I talk to you like, I don't know, 100 times a week anyway, so this will just be like me and you having a quick chat. Although when we were in rehearsal, because we worked on ships together, I had to get you to remind me what they were, because you do forget, don't you?
What I've done?
Yeah. What ships you worked on, what.
Oh, which shit? Oh my god, there's been so many. I actually can't remember, but I can remember the main one. So my first ship was Sovereign of the Seas,
right?
So it'll always be my fondest memory.
Yes. And was that when we met?
No, so we met.
Okay.
I think we met when I was on the Nordic Empress, and that was probably my fourth ship probably. Yeah. And then I was shore excursion manager, and I was friends with Kirsty Manga, who was the port shopping guide, and she obviously knew you, and you were on the Disney cruise ship, and we went for dinner on board.
I remember that.
Because we had an overnight in Nassau in the Bahamas.
That's right.
Yeah, and so that's how I got to know you, and that was in the 90s. I'm guessing, in the 90s. Yeah. We've known each other that long.
Wow. Well, we're going to take a trip down memory lane, but I did forget to mention something. Oh, here's someone to say hello.
Oh, it's Big Bob. Hi.
Hi, the biggest of Bobs. How are you? He's going to be a guest on my show. I'm looking forward.
I actually forgot that I was kind of on a live, and it was just a chat with you. Yeah, this is what we do normally. This is just like being on Zoom, like just chatting like we were doing the other day. And I was like, I need to go and do some work.
I know, we're terrible, aren't we? But well, if anyone's watching this and you're on Facebook, you do need to click on a link that says to allow StreamYard to let your comments come through. And so if you just click on that link, if you're watching this on YouTube, it's not a problem. You can just put comments and we can read them. So if you do have any questions for Lucy, or you just want to say hello or hello to me. Questions. I know. Well, people might. You're welcome, Bob. You'll be on our show soon. 12th of February, Big Bob's on my show. Can't wait. I'm looking forward to that. But back to you. But you didn't really start on cruise ships, did you? How did you get to be working on a cruise ship?
Travel. So I guess it was like during the 90s, and it was difficult. It was the first recession, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And I'd had a taste of travel because I'd been a chalet girl in the Swiss Alps. So I cooked and cleaned in return for being able to ski. And so I sort of like got a taste of another life. And I at the time was living in Berkshire in England, and I was actually engaged. And I just really started to hanker after an adventure. So while I was working at Apple, actually, I was working for Apple Macintosh during the transition when they first came out with I think it was the Power Mac or something. Wow. And I was working amongst all young people, and we had this newsletter, and we didn't have a newsletter. Someone passed me a newsletter, and the newsletter was for Oxford and Cambridge University students, graduates actually. And it was advertising all these amazing jobs. And there was this job in Aruba, in the Caribbean. And I didn't care that I didn't have a degree, let alone one from Oxford or Cambridge University. So I applied. And I actually got an interview, went for the interview. Weirdly, now when I look back, it was at the Savoy in London. I'd never obviously been to the Savoy in London, and I had these interviews, and I literally just basically bamboozled them until they gave me a job. So they gave me a job, and back in those days, you didn't have email, we didn't have mobile phones. I had to fax them, so I used to fax them every day. Peter Saville.
Wow.
And he gave me something to get, and he actually was the original owner of IBM Media. So and he sold it just before that recession. And he bought himself a Pan-Caribbean tour, which was the semi-submarines. And so I went out to Aruba to run the semi-submarines with this other girl called Charlotte, who became a dear friend, although I've lost touch with her now. But she was a Cambridge graduate, and she did the hard thing. She did the operations and finance, and I did the sales and marketing. So I basically went over to Aruba. I didn't even know where Aruba was when I got the job. Landed there, and I poodled around in a pale pink Jeep. And I went and visited all the hotels and sold them the semi-submarine. And really our aim then was to get people to go on the semi-submarine rather than the submarine, which was our competition at the time. And we also worked with the cruise lines, which came in to Aruba. And although Charlotte had to do that job and get up early in the morning and take the tours, I didn't. And that's how I got introduced to cruising. So then I got introduced to Ellen Lynch. And Ellen Lynch at that time was working in the Shore Excursion Department on land at Royal Caribbean. I went back to the UK after being in Aruba for about a year. And I was meant to get married, but it was raining in London, and he was just being a bit grumpy. And I just thought, I can't cope with this. I don't want this to be my life. I was only 25 or 26. And I phoned up Ellen Lynch, and we had this conversation, and I can remember her asking me how committed I was going to be. I was like, oh my God, I'm just so committed. And they got me on board. 2 weeks later, I was on the Sovereign of the Seas, wondering what I'd done, because I was really ill and I had like ear infection, and and I ended up sharing a cabin to begin with. I was like, oh my God, I'm not going to like this. But obviously ended up loving it.
Yeah, I've got a picture of you in Aruba. This is you.
Oh yeah, so that was like we were on a tour then. And that's Charlotte with me, and then some of the other people we met. And we were on the Jolly, I think it was the, oh my God, I do remember the name of it. Not the Jolly Roger. Wasn't a Jolly Roger, but it was similar to that. And Medushi, that's what it was called. It was called Medushi, which is my darling in Papiamento, which is the native language of Aruba. And so that was Aruba. And then I think you've got another photo of me with all the tour operators and me sat at my tour operator desk.
Is this it?
So, no, that's the St. Martin. That's
And this one is you. Oh my God, look at this uniform.
Yeah, that was Sovereign of the Seas.
Look at that can.
That was Sovereign. I know.
I know the desk. I recognize the desk. In the corner was where I used to go to tell people about the port shopping. Yeah, but we shared the desk, didn't we? Port and shopping and Shore Excursions. And the divers.
So I was assistant Shore Excursion Manager on my first ship.
Yeah.
And I worked with a girl called Louise Herring, who I adored.
So I have small pictures. What's this one?
So that was Rhapsody, one of my favourite ships.
Yes. I love that.
Oh, there I was Shore Excursion Manager, and that's Lisa O'Connell. She was the assistant Shorex at the time, but she now I think is hotel manager.
Wow, she's done well. And then there's this picture here.
So that was the Sovereign of the Seas, and that was my first ship. You've got Ray Rouse in the back there.
Oh, yeah.
Jane Turner, obviously. Who else? Oh, Ashley Bairns, she was my roomie.
Yeah.
Keith Richards, he was the dive manager. And Tom, can't remember his last name. Yeah, so they're great memories.
Good night. And then there's this one.
That was the Monarch, Dale Merritt. So that was my second ship, and Dale was my manager, and I became the manager on that ship, even though I was terrified of public speaking. I I decided to overcome my fears and
do it, don't you?
yeah.
Yeah. And you've been to many different places.
Yeah.
What's some of the most, because Cruise Shop Save is all about the destination and the shopping and really getting in touch with the actual place itself rather than the tourist path. I've got some pictures of you here. Shall I put them up and you can explain what's going on? All right. So there's this one.
Oh my god! So that is on board the ship. So that was with Princess Cruise Lines. So we've, that's with a background behind it. That's one of my favourite photos. So you can choose your background. So that's probably not the best photo to show what's going on, but the funnest photograph for sure.
But there's this one.
Oh yeah, so that's in Anguilla. No, I think what I love about cruising, and I always said I can turn any non-cruiser into a cruiser, is that you get to see so many different places in 1 week, and they're all places that hold something special, and the shopping obviously is amazing. I don't think I would have got as many items of jewelry and watches had I not cruised. The deals are incredible, and I'll never shop anywhere else. But the fun times you have, and you get to sample these places, and then add to your list of where you want to go back to, and the time on board is special. I just think everything about cruising is amazing, and some of my most favorite places are, I think, different things hold different for different people. So as a crew member, you love somewhere, don't you, for different reasons than maybe a passenger does. But I think that St Thomas will always hold a special place in my heart. St Martin, Aruba, Barbados. Oh my gosh, there's so many. San Juan, Puerto Rico is probably one of my favorites, because I love the wandering around the streets and the cobbles and the beautiful restaurants. We've had some great nights there in Puerto Rico. And I mean,
are there beaches in Dubai?
Exactly, are there beaches in Dubai?
That was one job.
You know the answer to that now. Yeah,
we do. But there's this here in St. Martin.
So in my, obviously as excursion manager, you're looking after all the tours, which was so much fun. And this was a crew trip. So as well as organising for the guests on board, you'll organise trips for the crew. And this was definitely one of the favourite trips, which was the sailing regatta in St Martin. So you're actually sailing in boats that were used in the, oh my god, I can't remember the name of it now. The sailing regatta, and I can't remember which one it was. But they are the original boats. So you've got True North, Stars and Stripes, America's Cup Sailing Regatta, that's it. And you compete against each other, and it was just the best. So everybody always wanted to go on that. So you actually take part, and obviously passengers who cruise, you get to do this tour as well. So there's so many great shore excursions to take part in when you cruise.
Yeah, I agree. And there's this picture here.
So that was in Norway. So that was I think that was Garanga, is that how you say it? And that was, so that was the Baltic, which I have to say was probably the most beautiful cruise I've ever done. The water is literally like sailing through liquid mercury, that silky, beautiful, still water. And it's just so fresh and gorgeous.
Wow. Yeah. And then there's this.
That's in Aruba. That was on another crew trip as pony trekking on the wild side of Aruba.
Yes.
And I have to say, when I lived in Aruba, so that Aruba shopping wise, you and I discussed this earlier, there were no shops.
No, there wasn't.
In the 1990s. That's grown, hasn't it, over the decades, and now it's amazing shopping. But back then it was really hard even to buy a fashion item, clothes and things like that. It was so old fashioned.
I remember that. It was, I think there was a bar that opened up and we were all so thrilled that a bar opened. We were like, oh, We're always there.
One of my favourite restaurants. There was two, wasn't there? Remember later on, the two of my all-time favourite restaurants were in Aruba. One was called Kipasa, and the other one was called the Flying Fishbone. And we kind of kept it secret. Do you remember? Because we didn't want loads of people to know about it. It was on the beach. Oh my God, it was so amazing.
I remember that.
Had hammocks, but I don't know whether you managed to upload the hammock photos.
No, I couldn't upload the hammock video.
But yeah, so I love Aruba, but I'll always love Aruba because I live there as well. So it is a really special place for me.
Yeah. And, you know, something that I hold very dear is the friends that we meet, the people that, and here's a picture of you with
Gary.
Is that in Cozumel?
Yeah, and Sylvia. So that was such a special time. And yes, and we have, I forgot about Cozumel. Cozumel, also one of my all-time favorite ports. Love Mexico, anything to do with Mexico. And obviously this was in Cozumel. And I think I stayed there for a week on holiday after I finished on a ship and hung out with them. And Gary was responsible for my earrings. He helped me pick my diamond earrings, which obviously anybody out there who's wanting to buy diamonds, I definitely recommend the best place to buy those is in the Caribbean. So wait until we can travel again before you buy your diamonds.
Absolutely. Gary Klein knows what he's talking about.
So does. Yeah,
you're right. I'm the same as you. I stayed in Grand Turk for a week because you have to decompress, don't you, when you work on a cruise ship? It's like go, and it's fabulous. I would never complain, but you are on your knees when you finish your contract. And I have a little funny story to tell about you, because I think I was coming towards the end of a contract and I was losing patience, because cruisers do tend to ask the same question over and over again when you've been there. I think I'd extended. I think I was there for like 9-10 months and I really was exhausted. And I think I was not rude, because I would never do that, but I was a little bit short with a passenger. And you tapped me on the shoulder and you said, right, I'm going to give you a little tip. Just pretend you're talking to your grandma or your mother. Yeah, I've never forgot that, because
I know that someone did that to me. I think a passenger pulled me up because I was in Alaska. And as you say, you've got a line that is like way beyond like the lifts, you know, and if anyone who's been on a ship, you know, the lifts in the Centrum to the desk is a long way. And everyone's asking the same question. Oh my God, I don't know what tour to do. Which tour do you think I should do? And you're like, I don't know. Which tour do you think you should do? But you can't say that. And like, you know, you've had the whole of the line to decide what you're going to do. Why can't you make a decision? But you're going to ask me, and you just lose your patience. And obviously someone saw that in my face, the frustration. And she said to me, you know, like, remember, you know, I said to you, you know, remember, you know, that this is like everything. And like, and it kind of put me in check. But it's really difficult sometimes.
It is hard sometimes, I know. And it's harder, I think, in some cases, because we could really let off steam. The rules really have changed, rightly or wrongly, you know, safety and all that. But I have one more picture. I'm not sure where this is.
That was Aruba. So that's when I worked in Aruba. So I'm really young there. It was in the 90s. It was a long time ago. And that was me at a orientation meeting, as you had, you know, when all the people who had arrived on the island, they come and learn about the different tours that they can do. And that was me, like, promoting semi-submarine. I can still remember the pitch, you know, semi-submarine. It's like a real submarine on top, and you descend 6 feet underneath and you've got glass all around you. And so that was my start, really. And I'll be forever thankful for Peter Saville to take me on, you know, even though I wasn't an Oxford or Cambridge University graduate, because it totally did shape the rest of my life.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad, because we got to meet, and I remember that time in Nassau when you came on the Disney, and actually I think we took a load of pictures, didn't we? And I, somewhere in my boxes, because I still haven't fully unpacked, even though I've lived here over a year, I have a picture in a Disney frame of us.
Oh, really? Oh, you got to try and find that. I don't really have any pictures of you and I from ships, so I'd love to see some.
To It's weird. I know it's weird. Like, we're really good friends, and when we were going to do this, I said, "Have you got any pictures?" And then I was looking at pictures. I'm like,
no.
Any pictures?
Well, we didn't really have. Well, we didn't have selfies and things like that then, did we?
No,
We didn't have mobile phones and no.
Yeah,
so
I know. We just had
camera.
formal pictures. Yeah. Formal pictures, didn't we? But so we met on the, and then what ships? We worked on the Rhapsody together, didn't we? Out of Galveston, Texas.
Yeah, we were trying to work it out whether it's Enchantment, Rhapsody, or Grandeur, but it was one of those three. I think it might be the Grandeur.
Grandeur, okay. I can't remember.
So I've worked on Royal Caribbean. So I did Sovereign of the Seas, Monarch of the Seas, Rhapsody, Enchantment, Grandeur, Nordic Empress, and I think that's it. And then I did Princess. So I did Grand Princess.
Yeah.
Loved Princess.
Yeah.
And then I did P&O. I did do a little bit of time on Carnival, but I would not like to repeat that experience. And then I went to P&O, which I loved.
Yeah.
And that's where I spent my last contracts, because I became an art auctioneer. And I did Princess as as a port lecturer and art auctioneer, and then I was a art auctioneer on P&O and loved it. It's very different though, working with a British crowd, but enjoyed it. Yeah,
and sadly a lot of those ships are no more.
What, the P&O?
Not the P&O, the Royal Caribbean ships.
Oh, yeah, I know, the Monarch and the Sovereign I think have gone, haven't they?
Yeah, really sad. But onwards and upwards, isn't it? Because they have to be, I guess, environmentally, it's a good thing, because they weren't environmentally friendly, and the newer ships are. But if you're watching this, if you've ever sailed on any of those ships, and pop a comment in and let us know if you can remember.
Watching, actually.
Yeah, we've got quite a few people watching, actually.
Oh, okay, good.
And a lot of people watch afterwards, because of course it's 7 p.m. in London. It's the afternoon, and some people are working, so they do end up catching it later. At least I hope they do. Anyways, what are you doing now then with your life?
I have to say that I found it quite, difficult to make that transition. So I worked on ships for 9.5 years, and I came back around the same time as you, didn't I? Really, I think
a year before me, I think.
And I was in London for a bit, and I actually went into art. So I worked in Harrods in London in the art gallery there for Halcyon Gallery. And I did that for about 5 or 6 years. And then I got my dream job at Theo Fennell in London, which is a celebrity jeweler, and I loved it. So I did the wholesale for him. So that took me to some places in the Middle East, which was really exciting. And one of those places was, I think I remember telling you, I was so excited about Azerbaijan, which I amazing, and I had no expectations about that. So it was a surprise and a delight. And then life, as it does, took me into a new area, which is interiors and buying and homeware. And I loved that. And then life again, did a switch, and then COVID came along. But for the last few years, I've always been interested in health and wellness. And so now I'm in health and wellness. I've decided to focus on that, which obviously is in the forefront of everyone's mind. But I feel, I had a light bulb moment. I went to a talk that was given by a doctor of molecular cell biology. And she talked about the top 5 things that she felt people should do to stay healthy and to stay young. And it was based on her years of research as a molecular cell biologist. And she talked about omega-3. And I always knew I should be taking some sort of supplement, but I wasn't quite sure what. And I didn't even know what I'd heard about omega-3 and omega-6 and omega-9. I didn't know what they did. And she explained it. And I had this moment, and I obviously took on board what she said. And then I went and researched it, because that's what I do, because I need to know that it's right. And I found out about omega-6-3 ratio and how important it is to have a balanced omega-6 to 3 ratio. And sadly, I think it's been kept a secret, and people aren't aware of it. And I know you and I talk about it, because I've obviously bored you and banged on about it to you. You listen to me, and what I'm saying is right. And so, yeah, that's what I focus my business around. So now I help people to get back in balance, to get their omega-6 to 3 ratio in balance. And if you do that, you feel a whole host of benefits. For me, I had arthritis in a toe left over from an injury, which was coming out in my 50s. And God, can you believe that we're in our 50s?
No.
And yeah, and so that went. I don't have to have steroid injections, and I've got nearly all my friends. Well, all my friends and family are on it, and it has to be a special one, Melissa, as you know. I've done my research. I've got the spreadsheet. You know, an extensive spreadsheet.
What is this that I found on the internet then?
Yeah, so that's our cells, and so we need a cell with a nice squishy cell membrane, like an egg. You don't want a hard-boiled egg. We want the white. And all be squishy, and so all of our nutrients can get in and the toxins can get out. But if you see the red one, which most of us, I'm going to tell you, 95% of us have that cell, nothing can get in and nothing can get out. So we're polluting ourselves from the inside out. I am very passionate about this, and it means we're inflamed. And so awful diseases happen when you're inflamed, like arthritis, like Crohn's, like cancer, like Alzheimer's, like cardiovascular disease. And it starts coming out in our 50s and 60s. So prevent it, you know, and that's what you can do if you take one of my products.
I tell you what I liked about it is because you know, obviously I listened to you and you presented the evidence to me, and it is science-based, but I like that you can take a blood test. So
that's it. Yeah.
I took the blood test because, you know, you look at a vitamin, you go, are you really doing anything for me?
Yeah, because there's no regulations. I didn't know that on supplements.
Eating candy, no, who knows? But I took the blood test and my ratio was off. And at the time I had aching in my knuckles and I had other things going on. And then I took the omega-3, your omega-3 that has been scientifically proven. And I took another blood test and I was within the 3-to-1 ratio. I couldn't believe it. And the other thing I couldn't believe is that we have too much omega-6.
Yeah, you don't realize it. I didn't know that. And that's the thing. We have to have in our cell membranes, we need a ratio of under 3-to-1. So 3 parts omega-6 or less to 1 part omega-3.
Yeah.
The average in the UK is 15-to-1. I was 11-to-1. And in the US, it's 24-to-1.
My God.
And so, and this is science. It's not, we're not plucking these figures. It's truth.
No. Yeah.
And the reason why other omega-3s don't work is that they last in your body for 5 hours and then they oxidize, they disappear. Whereas the one I recommend, there's one other one that's also blended with a polyphenol, but our one lasts for 30 hours. So it gets to every single cell membrane. And we're made of just cells, bacteria, and water. So it's incredibly important. And you know, you need it in your brain, you need it in your heart, you need it in your lungs, your skin. You know, it really helps your skin. Some of my friends have had amazing results on it. You know, and it takes 120 days for a full cell renewal. Which is why we say test after 4 months. And after 4 months, you'll see a difference. And if you take the test and you're under 3-to-1, you get your money back. So, you know, with that, we know, you know, so so that's what I'm doing now. And I love it.
I know. And you're right. There is so many benefits because a mutual friend of ours, and you know, we're not making big medical claims here. These are people that we know. A friend of ours, didn't she have a really bad skin? Was it
psoriasis? Yeah, and suffered for years, and within 120 days disappeared. Another great friend of mine, he's got Hashimoto's, and his tumor decreased in size by 7 centimeters. The doctors were astounded. His eyesight's got better. His hair started growing back. You know, and he's a massive skeptic. So and it makes my heart so swell. You know, when people are having these results. There
are so many massive claims online as well. It's really annoying, but I love that this is because it's a Swiss company, isn't it? Is it Swiss or
it's Norwegian? Norwegian, but they're all over the world. And it's and backed by this Dr. Paul Clayton, who has devised and developed the products. So they're all test-based and evidence-based, and natural, all natural as well.
Yeah, it's all natural. Well, I put a link in the comments in Facebook so people can look it up, because I think it's really important that people look after their health, especially now with what's going on. I for sure have got my health in check. I've cut back on the drinking. I am doing dry January, and of course I take Zinzino, the omega-3 oils, and I swear to God it feels so much better.
There are other products there, you know, not just the balance oil, but and there are ones that will protect you against, you know, if you were to get coronavirus, and I hope you don't, but we do a product called Protect, which is all beta glucans, and it will definitely help you recover more quickly from it.
Wow. Well, I want to know more personally. So did you tell me that the other day that you do a talk every week?
So often we do talks. I've got a doctor on my team. I have doctors and nutritionists, and one of the doctors, we do talks, and people are, you know, message me and I can invite you to those talks, or I can send you a recording.
Yeah, invite people in the page and people in the group, because, you know, we're all about cruising and traveling, but we also want to look after each other and make sure everyone stays healthy, so that when the cruising does come back, we're all healthy enough to go on a cruise.
I mean, you and I said, didn't we, you know, the thing is, abuse to your body doesn't come out until later on in life. You know, I thought maybe I was really healthy, and obviously now I realize that internally we're all inflamed. And you and I partied hard on ships, and
we had a good time
to now look after ourselves.
There's a balance in there somewhere. I get a lot of joy out of looking after myself.
Yeah, same.
And because I never used to, you know, even when I was working full time in corporate, I put everybody else and everything else ahead of me. And I think this whole pandemic has made, not to get on the whole, it's really made us think about looking after ourselves.
Important. Health is so important, isn't it? Health is wealth, as they say, and it's so true.
Yes.
I mean, nothing else matters really other than your health.
Yes.
And your loved ones.
And your loved ones, exactly. And cruising. Actually, my last trip abroad was with you back in November.
It was. That was my last one, was with you.
I know. That was like
Miami.
Yeah, November 2019. We went for some training, didn't we? And we had such a laugh. And I didn't upload any pictures, but what was that hotel in Miami we went to? The Standard. Oh,
no. Yes, the Standard. Yes. In a hammock. On Venetian Isle. Yeah, it was wonderful. I love the Standard.
So Lucy and I are just not cool. We're just not cool. We just can't be. We're not. And we go to the Standard. I don't know if you've ever been, where it says you walk through and you go out to the back and there's all these bars, the big bar and pool on the water and that. And as you walk through, there's all these different areas. And there's this one area where there was this hammock. So I decided to get in it. I couldn't get in it, and then I kind of fell out of it, and I just wasn't cool. And then you did it. And you did the same thing.
Yeah, it's a shame. We need to like put that video up. That was the most hilarious video. But the most hilarious thing is your laugh, because you do sound like Motley.
I know. I just can't stop. It was so funny.
Hilarious. And also the time when we went to the wrong hotel and picked them up from the hotel, or I don't know. There's just so many stories.
I know. And yeah, we're just not cool. Not cool at all. But anyway, I wouldn't have you any other way, my friend. And we'll have many more adventures on cruise ships and to different places. And thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me. I love Cruise Shop Save. I love it.
Thank you. Well, we're trying to build a community, and we're trying to help people when they go on cruises. I mean, you know, if people want free maps, they can subscribe. I know nobody needs any maps at the moment, but when you start cruising, you will, and we'll sort of
making our list of things we're going to buy when we get cruising.
Exactly, and we're going to have a load of shopping coupons as well, so people can shop in, or for authentic product in guaranteed and recommended locations because we know where they are, and we're going to sort out some really nice gifts and discounts for all our members. So if you're watching this, head over to Cruise Shop Save and subscribe.
So they can do a bit of shopping now if they want. Like, I've got my Philip Stein on. They can go on Philip Stein and get their Philip Stein. That'll keep them calm during the pandemic. And you've got discount vouchers for them, haven't you? And there's various other things you can still purchase.
That's true.
I've
uploaded a bunch of products. I've got some Cabana on there, and I've got some Sea Life jewelry. So yeah, if you want to go shopping, feel free.
Go for it.
Go for it. Oh, thanks, Lucy, for your time. Probably about the 10th time I've talked to you this week, but
the third time today. That's okay.
But thank you so much for your time. I wish you all the best of luck with them. And if people want to go over to find you, where can they find you?
They can find me on Facebook. I've got a page called Healthy Happy You with Lucy.
Yeah.
And also Instagram, Healthy Happy You with Lucy. So you can find me on there, or obviously through you.
For me. And I want to come
also the link that's in the chat box, that will go straight to my page.
Okay, that's fantastic. Thank you so much for your time. Enjoy your Friday and enjoy your weekend.
Thank you. Have a lovely weekend, everybody. Lots of love. Bye.
Bye.